It's the latest episode of The Ugly Truth. Today, we go back and explain some of our terminology. The Ug-ology for the day is, where did Ug come from? Why are we called the Uglies? What is lip and clip? And why do we hate milk so much? This, plus we discuss why we hate Valentine's Day and our ugly and awkward moments of the week. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the show.
It's another uncensored look at the world around you, from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
You are a mature woman. What are you doing?
Paula?
Yeah, pull them out of my asshole. Take a look.
Uncensored as always, it's time for the Ugly Truth.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. It's episode 438, Paula. Ugh. I still have a deep embedded voice in the back of my mind that says, we are sisters who podcast.
I know. I feel like I've been brainwashed.
Sorry, producer Joe, but it is such a dumb idea. It's so dumb. I can't with it, but yet in my mind, I still hear it in my voice and I hate it.
Well, I forgot. What was the reasoning behind that?
I don't know. I don't even remember why. It's just, we could not embrace it and we just rejected it brutally.
Was there a concern that perhaps people didn't know, or?
I don't care if they know or not. They figure it out. It's obvious. If you are new to this show, which we're going to discuss in a little bit, within a few moments, you know that we are obviously related. There's no way that two women are this close and friendly and loving that aren't related. I mean, maybe, but I've never seen it personally.
Well, I mean, I've seen Friends, but that just gets really annoying really fast.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it does.
Well, because you know what? Let's just say you're really close friends and you feel like you're sisters. At some point, your periods sync up. And then there is going to be a time when you hate each other. And you could literally be so angry at this human that you're not related to genetically that you spurn them off for 2 weeks and don't speak. Whereas with sisters, somehow you've created a way to push past that. Because you can be mean to each other knowing that they're not going anywhere.
Right.
So maybe that's it. I don't know.
I think with friends, there's just like an understanding. But it's kind of like it's its own thing. But nobody else would really get it. Right. But everybody has like almost everybody has like a sibling or something like that. And they kind of understand that it's like its own little language.
Right.
So.
It seems to me, well, and that we're going to talk about that. So really quick before, now I realized that our sister Stephanie, she's having a birthday on Lincoln's birthday, which is next week. But I know we're going to forget. So I want to wish her officially a happy 44 birthday. I don't know and refuse to acknowledge her actual age because we are vain. And she's not a fan of celebrating her birthday.
That's why when you said 44, I'm like, wait, I started counting. I'm like, that's not right.
44. All the Uggs are in their 40s now. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's true.
And we're all, wah, wah. I know. I hate it.
Just for a couple more months.
Shut up. Shut up. Forever. No one will ever age after this. We're in our 40s for the rest of our fucking lives.
Yeah, really. Because I mean, you know what? If I don't find a person soon, I'm just going to be old and saggy and gross. And then what? I'll have a good 15 years and that's it.
That.
Then we'll be sitting on the porch drinking iced tea, in front of the green, and we won't be having sex. And
I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with the lack of sex as you get older. I know that it probably does slow down for many, but it's hormone related. And I was listening to something, this was a while ago, and somebody said, well, because women's libido reduces during menopause. And you can, by the way, fix it. There are ways to encourage yourself to have a libido. You don't have to just accept the fact that you don't feel sexual anymore. So it's really, the burden is on you to fight your own, chemical urges. But somebody said, well, when do men lose their drive? Because men are horny all the time. Like, they never aren't. They're never not thinking about getting laid.
I don't think that's true.
Well, it said literally the last thing to go in a man is their testosterone and their lack and their desire to have sex. It's literally the last thing to go. So we're talking like their 80s if they're lucky enough to live that long. It takes forever for them to get there. You're like, oh my God, really? So Maybe that's why that's why those octogenarians marry 20-year-olds, because they still want to get it on. I
think I'm just being punished by God. You know, here I am in my prime and probably could do it like 5 times a day, and I have no one. And no one would want me right now. Like, well, I'm living with my ex-husband, and
they'd be like, well, that's an interesting dilemma.
Scenario. I'm unemployed, but I'll be starting school.
You are in school. You are a student.
No, I will be. I'm not right now.
I know. Well, you're getting there. Okay, so happy birthday to our Ugg. We love you so much. And, you know, whenever you're ready to come out of your hidey hole, just let us know. We'd love to see your ass. But, you know, we all have our ways of dealing with life. And we all love to squirrel away. And so does she. So happy birthday. All right. So about a month ago, somebody had posted on one of our social media sites, why do you guys hate milk so much? And why, can someone explain to me your problem with leg hands? Because I can't even say the F word.
By the way, did you get the thing I posted?
I absolutely refuse to acknowledge it, but I know why you posted it. I know it was out of revenge because I posted the snake video.
God, I watched it for 5 seconds, and then after the first strike, I'm like, oh my God! But then I went and showed Ryan. It kept doing it.
It did.
And I was just like,
yes.
So, and I told Ryan, I'm like, okay, it's sitting on her shoulder. I'm like, I would have like flung that thing off like a bad scarf, and I would have ran for my life.
Okay, so I agree. And so there, just for those of you who don't know, and I'll post it on our social media so you can see it. So it's uglytruth.com, Facebook, Ugly Truth, Instagram, all of it, UGLEE Truth. So in Australia, there was a woman who had a little snake. It was like, I think it was a python. And it was little. It was like 2 feet long. And it was wrapped around her shoulder, kind of like a shawl on her neck. And I don't know what the hell she was doing in this herpetology center, but she's standing there with her microphone that has like one of those black felt covers
like,
on her microphone.
Yeah, foam tops.
A little black. Yeah, it looked like a little olive on her microphone. And so she's standing there talking, and they're getting ready to film. And the snake, for whatever reason, did not like or appreciate her microphone with the olive on it. So he struck it, and hard. It like moved her hand. It was a very strong little snake. And she's like, it just bit my microphone. And so then they're like, stay very calm, stand still. And they're telling her how to respond to this aggressive snake. And I was like, if that was me, I'd be like, get this motherfucking snake off of my neck now.
Well, no one's going to touch it while it's in like the coil, you know.
Get a
like
hook. They have those snake hooks. Just get that thing and rip it off of her body.
I would have taken that microphone and be like, here, have it.
That's what I was thinking.
I'd whack it with my microphone and I'd run forward as fast as I could.
I'd be like,
knowing me, I'd probably roll my ankle as I was running and fall, and then I'd like, bite my ankle, and I'd be like, God damn it! Is this thing poisonous? Call 911!
I don't understand how or why that was occurring and why it went on for so long. That snake continued to attack it. And
you know
I'm
what?
Like,
it's
no.
Australia. They have the scariest of things. Like, that could have been a worm for all she knows. I mean,
I know.
It was nothing.
It was horrifying. And I am not afraid of snakes. Like, they don't bother me at all. But if that had been a spider attacking, oh my God. I mean, that's all I could think of is, what if that was something that I was afraid of and it was sitting on my shoulder and it started to attack? I would be terrified.
Never moved to Australia then.
Ever. Okay, so Ug-ology is what I'm calling this, because it has been a really long time since we've talked about some of our buzzwords that we use all the time. So let's start with the big one. Why are we the ugly truth? And it's UGLEE. Why are we called the uglies, the Uggs? Where does that come from? And now, this actually originated with me and Stephanie, our sister, because you were still kind of a baby when this came, but we fully embraced it way after that. Stephanie and I hated each other in childhood. We did not get along, like viciously hated each other. I don't even know why. Stephanie was the ultimate middle child. She displayed all the symptoms, all the characteristics of a middle child. She was a little more mischievous, a little more she instigated lots of things. She tried to get people in trouble because any attention was good attention. And so you're right. She may not have gotten along, but she loves us all so much. But you're right. But when we were kids, she and I were like oil and vinegar. We did not get along at all. And it started when she was a baby, when we were little. And so when we were in puberty, our lives were obviously very tumultuous. We were, and I will say this gently, we were forced to stay with our father 50% of the time when we were in puberty. And so when we would get ready in the morning, we could not even be in the same bathroom together, but we had no choice. And she would always tell me that I was fat and ugly. And I would always tell her that she was a whore and ugly. And we would go back and forth every single day. Every day we went through this. And so finally in our house, calling someone ugly was like the ultimate sin, because we are adorable and we think we're adorable. We know we're cute. So calling each other ugly was like, how dare you? And every day. So finally, as we became adults, we started to realize that we really loved each other and that we needed each other. And so ugly turned into a term of endearment somehow. But to prove that, we had to change the spelling. So it's now Uglee. And we call each other Ug for short. And we all do it, except for our sister Allison, who calls me a hag every time she sees me.
Well, we used to call each other hag.
We did.
For a long time. And so, but Ugg for some reason just stuck.
And how we start our show every day, when we go, Ugh, like that, when we would call each other before texting, when you would pick up the phone and you didn't know who was there, you'd be all, Ugh, and they'd be like, Ugh, how are you, ugly? I mean, that's how we handled it.
Before the days of caller ID.
Right, exactly. And, you know, our mom, she couldn't do that. She just calls us brats.
Or she'd be like, daughter.
Oh, daughter. Which is probably where we got the Ugg. So, yes, that's exactly where ugly came from.
Flair for the opera.
Yes. So I would like you to explain why we don't like milk.
You know, I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is we just, I don't know, was it Allison?
Yes.
Or
yes.
Okay, so we just had issue with cereal for some reason growing up, and I don't know. Well, here's the thing: Allison and Mom notoriously are like really messy eaters.
Yes.
Like they always get like food on like their hands, and I'm just like, God, I'm like, why is it so hard for you just to eat?
Go from,
you know,
why is it hard to go from plate to fork to mouth?
Especially like hamburgers, like that are like, you know, have like mustard and
sandwiches.
And I'm just like, God,
soup.
Anything, you know, toast. But
they're like, I mean, first of all, it's almost like, you know, when little kittens eat milk and they get that little milk mouth.
Yeah,
it's
but Mom
adorable.
and Allison aren't covered in hair.
No, they are not.
So anyways, Allison, she's always been so oblivious to life, and you know, she's always in her own little world. And so in the morning when we were all, you know, eating breakfast and she would be eating her cereal, she'd always make like noises, like slurping sounds or chewing sounds, and then like milk would splash everywhere, like for whatever reason, because she, you know, she didn't bend down to bite it. You know, she'd just bring the spoon to her mouth, and you know, that's like 12 inches. And then when she'd get up, there'd be like drops of milk all over the table.
And her chin. And
it would dry. And it was just after a while, it just became so grotesque that, you know, we just had a problem with milk.
It was just,
I don't know what
it was. It was inevitable because we all, you know, back in the day, and maybe some families still do this, but back in the day, we all ate breakfast together in the morning. And so we would all sit, and I hate breakfast.
Yeah.
And so I would be forced to sit and try to get something in my gullet because, you know, of all the things, this was the thing that our mom was going to stick by, was we will all eat breakfast together. And so I had to sit there and endure the drips on the chin, back into the bowl, you know, and then God forbid anyone have a slip outside of our sister. If Stephanie or you or me had a slip, it'd be like, oh my God, you know, it is one thing, because we all know Allison, where we would literally build a wall around her so we didn't have to see her eat.
Stephanie, she had like 3 cereal. I can't even believe we had 3 cereal boxes to do it, but
I know.
Or maybe it was just one. I don't know what she would do. And she would keep moving it, like if Allison like adjusted in her seat, like, you know, to keeping sure she was out of sight. And then
but we could still hear. She's
and
like,
Mom would get mad. Like And the thing is, Mom wouldn't eat with us. She was, she'd come in the room and she'd be like, Stephanie Denise, you're being cruel. Stop it.
Get her coffee and saunter away.
Yeah, and she'd go back out, but we had to be in there.
Yes.
And then,
true.
it was so.
That's why. I think it was finally just the sight of this substance. It was just so unappetizing. And to this day, I hate milk. To this day. I just can't. I mean, I've never liked milk. Like, I was allergic to it apparently as a baby, and I think that's why I have an aversion. But the actual sight of milk on skin, I think it's something that we created that with the forced eating together of the breakfast cereals. I'm almost positive. And let's not forget, we all have OCD. We all have it.
That's the thing is I don't know why we were always so particular.
I don't
young.
know, Paula.
I mean,
we are
that's weird.
We're still particular. We're
like,
still
my
that
kids
way.
don't give a shit. And
I know,
Ryan by
weird?
far is one of the most disgusting eaters. I mean, he just makes sounds, and I'll look at him in disgust, and he's just like, sorry. And I'm just like,
well,
God, Ryan,
I will tell you that boys,
close your mouth.
Boys are like that. Although strangely, and I don't want to make this correlation, but I'm going to. As much as our father is a flawed, broken human, my son is just as meticulous when it comes to eating that our dad was. Our dad wouldn't drop a crumb
on that
true. Table. And Tyler's the same way. My son is the same way. And he's always been that way. It's so odd. Because he's nothing like our dad. He's nothing like him, but his mannerisms when it comes to feeding himself have always been that way. Very unusual.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
No, Dad was not messy at all.
Oh,
no, Dad was always very well put together, and everything was always clean and
very neat and clean and orderly, which is crazy because his life is a mess.
He even had good handwriting.
Oh yeah, he did. Very like a serial killer. No.
Yeah, really.
So anyway, so I think, and then the leg hands or the feet aversion is kind of along the same lines. I don't know why, but all of us, it's almost like we shared the same madness, but we all hated other people not having shoes or socks on. And that went back from even when I was a little girl. I just never liked, like, it took me until I was in my 20s to wear flip-flops. Like, I hated them. And it's not like we have we do not have ugly feet. Mm-mm. They're all cute, although we all swear that we do. But I'm like...
Well, as soon as the subject comes up, I mean, I'm curled up and under my butt, so no one can even look. I'm just like, pull them out of my asshole. Take a look.
I have slippers on right now, and my toes are completely curled. My perfectly manicured ones, I'm with you. I struggle, and when it was very clear that the styles were going to be open, sandals and all of that stuff, I'm like, I either come to peace with it or forever will be wearing boots and straight, platforms with no open toe. And it took me a long time to come to peace with it. And I don't know what it is. We just all hate them. I don't want
anybody looking because everybody always looks down. And
they do.
And as soon as that happens, I curl my toes, which I think just draws more attention. And
I know.
There's no way to hide a toe. You just can't.
No.
So Ryan told me the other day, he's 14 and he says that he thinks he's struggling with an odor issue. And I said, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And
you just got to bathe every day.
No, he does, but he says it's every day. Yeah. And so I said, well, I'm like, you might just have to like give him a scrub when you get home from school or something like that, or make sure you're not leaving your shoes on for extended periods of time, so it doesn't ruin your shoes.
Sure.
So I said, but I'm like, there's no way that you have a far worse problem than Auntie Stephanie did. And he's like, what? And I said, it wasn't fair.
No.
And I said, and, as mean as our father was, I said, sometimes he did have moments of humanity.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, and in the strangest ways.
It was very weird.
We always took these awful long trips to places.
You know what? Maybe they weren't that long, but they just felt really long.
It felt like it was 6 hours wherever we were going in the car, and inevitably someone threw up or had to go on the side of the road. I remember Stephanie threw up Cheetos. And,
oh my God, yes.
We had to clean out the car. But anyways, and I don't know why we did this, because I can go a long car ride now and I don't have to take my shoes off. But maybe that's, training. I don't know. But it never failed that on the long car rides, we all took our shoes off at some point.
I know. That's so weird.
But Stephanie was not allowed to do that.
No.
And so sometimes she would try and sneak it by
she couldn't get away with it.
Quietly taking your shoes off.
No.
And within, 30 seconds, we all knew.
It was like gas mask central.
Dad would just crack the windows or whatever and try and pretend. And then after maybe 2 minutes, he'd be like, God, Stephanie, you're going to have to put your shoes back on. He was trying to be nice, because he's just thinking it's so not fair that she can't have her shoes off. But he's just like, I can't take it. I can't take it.
And then there's this like,
she's like, why? It's not fair. They're not that bad.
Oh, they are. It's an odor unlike anything I've smelled
rotten
since.
Corpse feet.
I literally can. The olfactory nerves still recall it.
I know. I can smell it right now.
Stop. Just stop. So maybe that has something to do with it too. I don't know. But I have very distinct memories of incidences where I've had seen other people's bare leg hands. And it is burned in my brain as a day where I went, God, I really don't like them. I really don't. I mean, it goes back from even when I was a young child all the way through high school. I really struggle.
I don't look at other people's for too long. I most certainly don't want them up close to me.
Right.
My kids, like if it's a medical issue, that's different. Ryan, I would
Paula.
really struggle. I would have to have Victor take a look. I don't think I could do it. But
let me tell you, I've been punished for my aversion, for sure. For number one, when my son was 10, we had one of the above ground white trash pools because we were living in a rental at the time. And we had the best of the best that we could get. And it was really a beautiful above ground pool. It was huge. I was pregnant with Malia. And Tyler was jumping in and out of the pool. Our children were competitive swimmers their whole childhood. So they were, having a blast, being able to play and not have to do laps. So they were in there practicing their strokes and stuff. Tyler would dive in. Well, the filter to this pool had a very sharp metal, one of those metal things that kind of holds the pipe or the tube down. I can't,
like a bracket or something?
Yeah, it was kind of like, well, not a bracket, but it was the kind of metal where it was this little metal thing where it's like 3 or 4 inches long. You wrap it around something and it locks into place. And it was aluminum.
A coil or something.
Something, anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It was like one of those plastic ones, but it was metal.
Right.
And so he jumps in and, of course, perfectly slices his big toe on it. And he comes in, he goes, Mom, I think I cut my toe, because he'd been playing so hard he didn't realize. It was so deep that there was fat coming out of his skin.
Oh my God.
He cut it to the bone. So I was like, okay, yes, you did. Come in. So he sat down and I put a towel on it because it hadn't started. It wasn't bleeding. It was that deep. So I cover it with a towel and I call our mother immediately. And because at that time I was within walking distance to our mom's house. And so I said, hey, Mom, I need you to come over, take a look at this. And I think I need you to help me take him to the doctor. And she's like, all right. So she comes over, she takes a peek. She goes, oh, yes. Absolutely. Let's go to the doctor. And so we go to the ER. Well, we call our pediatrician. He goes, I don't do those kinds of stitches, but I will call ahead for you. So we went to a center and it took so many shots. He said, if I can't get this to numb up, you're going to have to go to the ER and he's going to need surgery because it's pretty deep. And I'm like, all right. So it took no less than 10 shots of Lanacane or whatever the numbing is for your skin. Yeah. And of course, my son had to endure all of those shots in his
It would have been better just to go to the ER, probably.
Well, the doctor said, I don't know if this stuff isn't working or if it's just so deep that I can't get it to numb. And if that's the case, that's when they sedate you and put you to sleep, and then they just sew it up real quick. So he finally got it to numb up, and Tyler passed out sleeping because he was so stressed with the pain. I have never been so stressed in my life dealing with something until my son got older. But that was the worst injury I'd ever dealt with. Me and Mom were literally leaning over and holding him. I was like 9 months pregnant. And
I'm sure you were hysterical.
I wasn't hysterical, but I was under so much duress because he was struggling with the pain that I was like, if he can't get this, we're taking him immediately via ambulance and we're out of here.
Well, I just would have asked him, like, just give him a big fat shot of Demerol.
They did. Well, that's true. So anyway, they got it to numb up and he said, I'm sewing this up, but I don't know if this is going to do it. He may have damaged some nerves. And we're like, okay. So, of course, I had to deal with the foot thing for like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards to make sure his toe didn't rot off. Like, it was a thing. It was a thing. And then, fast forward 20 years later, Mackenzie has an ingrown toenail that is so bad that she can't even walk. So we have to go to a podiatrist and he has to perform surgery on her in the office. And I have to sit there with her because she is having anxiety like I've never seen before. And I literally I didn't watch it, but I did see what he was doing. And he goes, she can't feel this. And I turn and look and there's like things sticking out of her foot, like entrenched deep in her toe.
Yeah.
He was using surgery. And I was like, okay, got it. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, why am I being punished, universe? What's going on? Is it because I laughed at my sister and her foot odor? Like, what is it? Why am I being punished in this way? But yeah, so yeah, I've definitely had to deal with my fair share of leg hand situations. That is my version, personally. It's horrific.
That's awful.
Yes. Okay, so the other thing is lip and clip. Lip and clip is a tried and true. We even have it trademarked. So we were really serious about it. This comes from our mom. Lip and clip this is an old school thing. And a lot of people don't really subscribe to this theory, which I wish they would. Now, we all go through phases where we don't give a shit. But for the most part, when you walk out the door, you are representing your family as well as yourself. And so our mom's mantra was, you will not walk out of this house looking like you just rolled out of bed. You will always have your hair neat and clean, and you will at least have some stitch of makeup on your face, your choice. Whether it means wearing a hat or just having your face nice and clean with no eye goop, nothing. You have to look clean because if you choose to neglect your appearance, rest assured, you will run into your arch enemy or an ex-boyfriend that you don't want to see.
It's true.
And it is true. I will never forget the day that I went, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to the grocery store. And I ran into somebody with his children, a guy that I slept with for about a minute. He's all, Jamie? And because he couldn't even recognize me because
like,
I look like garbage. And I luckily couldn't remember his name. So I was like, hello. I literally walked out and left. I couldn't do it. I was like, this is what I get. This is what I get for neglecting the lip and clip.
See, I always think, well, this is my mistake. I thought for a long time, because I thought that, I had decent looks, that even though I wasn't wearing like, the best clothes and I didn't have makeup on, that I still was, considered a hot mom.
Sure.
I told that to Ryan one day. He's like, Mom, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's just like, have you seen some of the moms in the morning? I'm like, no, I drop you off. And he's just like, well, he's like, they're all like wearing like, fitness clothes and their hair's all done and they've got makeup on and like they're like ready to go. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And so one morning I don't know if I dropped him off or if I walked or whatever happened. And I looked and I'm just like, who are these women?
They're lip and clippers.
No, this was worse. Like it was like 7:45 in the morning and they looked like they were going to the gym or to have their affairs or wherever they were going.
Right.
And I'm just like, why do you look so amazing when you have nothing to do today? Well, other than to go to pretend to exercise or whatever it is that you're going to do. Because they were all in like, their crop Spanx, gym clothes. And
well, all that means to me is that, because you are cute, but a little lip and clip isn't going to ruin your day. Throw it in a messy bun, throw on your baseball hat, put a little gloss or whatever on, and you are presentable. And that way, when you run into these ladies, they'll go, wow, look at the hot mess. They're not, because you don't look like a hot mess. You look put together for 7:30 in the morning, and that's that. So we subscribe to the lip and clip 90% of the time, I would say. There are times when we just don't give a shit, but most of the time we do.
And actually, at that point, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm like, me and my Foo Fighters t-shirt and my jeans are out of here.
Yeah, really. Well, I think that's adorable. And that's a lip and clip, really. You've got clothes on. That's better than pajama bottoms and a cardigan, right? So.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I was just like, well, I'm not going to pretend to be one of these. If that's the hot bomb, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, I was never that woman. I could never be the woman who looked all adorable. And who puts on makeup to go to the gym? Like, I never understood that.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't have a hydro flask.
Well, we'll have to get you one. Anyway, yeah, so those are the basic Ug-ology terms that we have used in our whole life. And hopefully it makes you understand a little bit more when you're listening. When we say lipandclip.com, that means you can go to lipandclip.com, buy yourself a gloss and a clip somewhere on Amazon through the Ugly Truth website and make yourself decent before you walk out the door. No matter how cute you are, it's always good to just do a little extra. And then you're good. All right. So moving on really quickly. Valentine's Day is coming next week, I believe.
Is it really?
Yes. And we hate it. We both hate it so much.
You know, I think a lot of people hate it.
It's interesting that you say that because I found a study. They did a study. 28% of people between the ages of 18 and 30 don't like it. And that's men and women. Yeah, so that
can't be right.
So basically a third of the people who are aware of Valentine's Day as a holiday are like, we definitely fall in that category. But I found this is a science thing, and it was really interesting. Some of the legit reasons why we probably hate Valentine's Day. And the first one is, and I think this might have something to do with us, oxytocin. It's the love hormone. It's produced through the hypothalamus. It's a neurochemical that binds to neurons in the brain and helps to increase social bonding, romantic attachment, and empathy. How much of the love hormone is released is also tied to your personality. People who are more agreeable and empathetic release a lot of it. And this can change day by day based on your mood and other external factors. Like for me, a positive social interaction or a hug really does nothing to me. It does not increase my oxytocin, and that's probably personality based. I don't know how you feel about that. We've never been big huggers in our family.
Oh, God, I hate to be touched. I mean, like, by other people.
I got you.
If I'm in a relationship, I like to be touched. But,
right.
You know, by other people, like, if they come to, touch me or, hug me,
yes.
I feel like all these little spikes come out on my skin.
Right. We're
just
very prickly. Yeah! We are internally prickly people.
And the word empathy, I really struggle with empathy.
We do, too. Yeah.
I don't. It takes a lot for me to feel sorry for someone.
Exactly. So my guess is that we don't produce a ton of oxytocin, whereas someone like producer Dub probably produces a shit ton of it because he's the opposite. He loves to be hugged. He loves to be touched. He loves the interactions of social positivity. Like he's a really different, which is why every day I wonder, what the hell is he doing with me? But I think it's because there's a yin and yang to it. You know what I mean? So there are science-backed ways to change the way your neurochemicals bind to produce more oxytocin, like a brain reset.
But why do you need to do that?
If you want to. If you don't like the way you're feeling and you want to try to feel like producer Dub, they say you can sit in a hot tub to relax because warm temperatures raises your oxytocin. Meditate, walk, do something exciting or scary to burn off the stress, and that will stimulate oxytocin. So getting up and moving around will actually burn off the stress and allow your body to produce more oxytocin. Working out. This one says go on a roller coaster, which I don't know. No, I'm not doing that. But
we don't even have any around here.
No, but they're just saying burning off energy will actually allow your body to produce more oxytocin, which makes sense because people who work out and get to a level where you start, your dopamine kind of kicks in, where you start to get that quote unquote runner's high.
So if I was with a really hot guy and I bent over the bed and he spanked me really hard with a belt,
oxytocin would probably produce in your body.
I might want to give him a Hallmark greeting card and say
exactly.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's another one. One of the reasons why a lot of people don't like Valentine's Day is the oversharing of relationships on social media. It doesn't seem to be about a single person feeling jealous or resentful. It seems that everyone hates oversharing. So they suggest do a social media detox in the month of February, or limit yourself to 10 minutes of Instagram browsing a day, because people who are oversharers, where they do the play-by-play of their Valentine's Day plans, which, by the way, totally hate it, just don't even look. Like, literally ban the social media for during the week of Valentine's Day.
It doesn't bother me when people do that. I find the people who overshare are usually in trouble. So
me too. Yes, completely.
I kind of view it like, I'm like, that's sad. Like, they feel like they need
something's
to share
going
every
on where
detail,
they have to,
or
yes.
And then I analyze. I'm like, oh, they went there for dinner. I'm like, that's
interesting.
That's a commercial restaurant or a chain restaurant.
Yep.
If he picked that place, that means he doesn't really give a shit about her.
Yeah, he didn't do much effort. Yeah.
And what's her plate going to be? Like $13 a plate? Oh, and they got...
Oh, they went to the buffet. Okay.
Oh, appletini, classy.
Yes, I would agree. See, the thing with the oversharing is, I'm with you. I don't look at that and get resentful. I just look at it and go, oh, thou doth protest too much. Like when I see friends of mine who are men specifically, where they go above and beyond about how amazing their wife is all the time, I go, what did you do? What did you do? Why are you praising your wife like she's a goddess? Not that she isn't, but I mean, you're going above and beyond here, the Call of Duty. What did you do? That's guilt.
That's a requirement.
Yes, something's happened and you're
like
required
she's just
to do
saying,
this.
well, Julie's husband always is talking good about her.
I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think when men really go nuts on how amazing their wife is regularly, I see that as you fucked up and you need to prove yourself over and over again, because your wife is like, I know about Angie. You know what I mean? To me, that's what that is. You're making up for something.
Not always, but I mean, Victor didn't do it, but when he did, sometimes it always made me uncomfortable, because I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, it doesn't sound like you,
Exactly.
Like, that's not how you talk.
That's guilt. That is guilt talking.
It's just like, it just sounded so superficial. And I'm just like, you don't say that, like, I love my life, you're amazing. And I'm just like, who are you?
Who is this? What site did you Google to do this?
Right.
And so then the third reason why people hate Valentine's Day is because they're dealing with a breakup or an unrequited love. The holiday can trigger actual pain. So we're going back to the brain. There's no easy way to get away from a conflict or you can't be socially isolated, because, you've got to live life. And it's all around you. So in other words, love literally hurts, and Valentine's Day can be a not so subtle reminder of this. It says one of the best ways to deal with this pain comes back to oxytocin. It's an analgesic, which means it reduces pain by diminishing activity in the pain matrix. If you're single, raising your levels by, say, having a Valentine's Day party could actually help dissipate your negative feelings toward the holiday and raise the oxytocin levels. Okay, first of all, never doing a Valentine's Day. I don't care if I'm a widow or single. Ever is that going to happen. I'm not into it. And maybe it's because I don't have a lot of girlfriends, but I can't even fathom the idea of going somewhere and going, Valentine's Day, ladies. I can't do it. It makes me like bristle beyond. But I'm different than most people, so I don't know.
I don't know where you got this article or what it is or anything like that, but I guess, I mean, I can appreciate what they're saying, but I just kind of feel like it lacks some depth.
Well, it's all science-based.
Because I guess what I feel like is, the over displays of affection and getting sad about Valentine's Day and or being single or, all of those things, or feeling a loss of a breakup. I just kind of feel like, and this is just perhaps my wisdom speaking, being old as fuck now and being married twice now, is that I feel like if you truly meet someone that you genuinely care about and you genuinely love, it's almost like you kind of want to hold that to yourself a little bit. And you don't want to share it with everyone, like you appreciate what you have, and it is special.
Yeah, it's special. Okay, let's do our ugly and awkward moments of the week.
I'm just notorious for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. Not even when I'm talking to people, just in general.
Yes.
We were at the grocery store the other day, and I have realized that I have mom's thing about announcing odors. I don't know why. I just, every time I walk into a place or I go buy something, I grab my nose and I'm just like, what does that smell? Or it smells like blah, blah, blah around here. And I just like, I have to announce it. I don't know why. I just, it's a problem. And
you want everyone to know.
Well, I don't know why I have to declare it.
Why can't anyone just declare it for me?
Well, I think it's because I'm looking for acceptance. Like, you know, like I'm not the only one that smells it, but I look around and everyone else is just like, well, I don't smell anything. And I'm like, oh yes, it's me and my big schnoz. I'm the only one that smells it.
Well, if I'd been with you, I would.
So me, Ryan, and Olivia were at the grocery store the other day, and we walked past the chips section. As we're strolling by, all of a sudden I'm just like, God, I'm like, it smells like old potatoes over here. And I said it really loud, and I didn't even realize to the right of me there was an old Asian couple, like in their 80s.
Was it them? Were they the ones that smelled like potatoes?
I don't know. And so, but I said, I'm like, you know, the kind that has like spores coming out of it. And so, and then I didn't realize until we were like walking away, and I looked back, and then I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, Ryan, well, there was people there. He's like, yeah, I know. And I'm just like, why did you say something? He's just like, I don't know, Mom, you were kind of going off about the potatoes. And so,
you know, that is so awkward because it was probably them.
I don't know. I'm sure your kids are the same way. They don't interrupt you when you're going off on a thing. And so,
no, they don't. They just look at me and go, what are you talking about?
Like, you can't be stopped, you know, once you're on your tangent, and then they'll just tell you about the indiscretion after you're done. Be like, you didn't see the old couple next to you when you said it smelled like old potatoes with spores or whatever they're called? Or
oh my God, you know, that's so weird. That is so weird that you say that. The other day I was at the grocery store and I was trying to get some canned tomatoes, and there was a dude who was really confused. He was looking at a list, and he wasn't even that old. He was probably in his late 30s, early 40s. And he's looking at a list, and he's looking around. I got next to him. His BO was so profound. And I'm like, how are you walking around smelling like this? Like, what is going? It's like I felt like it was coming out of his shoes.
It's not even summer.
He smelled so bad. I was like, what is going on with you?
Actually,
like,
we're having record colds right now.
I know. It's 37 degrees with the sun up. What is happening to you?
I would actually say that. I'd be like, you realize it was 37 degrees this morning? How do you smell that bad?
I can only think of it as this, is that he had just gotten back. Like, he maybe went to the gym, worked out, put his clothes on, and went to the grocery store.
No.
Unacceptable.
There's a difference between like body sweat odor and just plain old like flea bag filth body odor.
He was a very well-dressed person, and he reeked, and he even had a blazer on. I was like, wow, Reek-a-rama, what is going on with you? Like,
get that thing dry cleaned. Whatever presentation you gave 2 months ago is still there.
The stress smell is there. I left the aisle. I said,
that is a different kind of smell, by the way.
I said,
when you get nervous, that is a whole different kind of BO.
Woo, that is not oxytocin. Right. So I left the aisle and said, I shall return when this guy departs, because I cannot do it. Because eventually I'm going to grab my nose and it's going to be a display and he's going to be aware.
You should have asked him and be like, I'm sorry, do they sell cumin in this aisle?
I wish it smelled like cumin. God, anything. I'm like, are there pickled onions in here? What is this? Did somebody spill?
I took 4 spices from my spice rack the other night, and I had Ryan close his eyes. I'm like, all right, you need to identify the spice. And so, of course, I picked cumin, and I'm like, no, take a deep whiff. And so he took it. He's like,
you're so mean.
He freaked out. He's like, you are so cumin? Mean. I'm like, yes.
That is so funny. Anyway, all right. Well, my awkward moment is also requires me to interact with another person. And it was so awkward. It was just awkward what I did. So Daryl and I, we're at Costco.
Okay.
Because we needed chicken. So we're just meandering around. And when we're done doing our responsibilities, Daryl likes to meander through the center of Costco, which has all the stuff like video games and whatever
books,
season,
jeans, and
whatever season's coming up. And of course, I always, literally every time I go, oh, honey, do you want these Calvin Klein jeans? Because they're, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them, but they're a little off. They're usually made somewhere other than where Calvin Klein makes their jeans, and so they're a little.
You're probably
going to
get the coronavirus by buying those.
No shit. And so we're walking. I don't know if I'm pushing the basket or not, but we're walking down this aisle, and then I see these two gentlemen coming towards us, and his friend or brother turns the corner, and there is a big, like, vanity type furniture thing on the corner. And he's trying to miss us because it's like two baskets passing each other, and we're turning left and he's turning right. And so we're trying to do it, as easily and not to hit each other as possible. And we miss each other, but he plows into the corner of this hutch that's on the corner. So of course I'm the only one to see him do it, because that's just how life is. Yeah. And he turns and he kind of goes, ee, like that, like, oops. And so what do? Paula, don't
what you do?
I practically curtsied and did a wave, like, ta-da, like what?
What is that?
I don't know. I was like, well, here you go.
Surprised you didn't take a bow. Take a bow.
It was the dumbest act I have done in so long. And Daryl didn't see it because he's just on his way. And I just did like this kind of half curtsy and a wave, like, here you go. And he's like, okay. And he just kept walking. I'm like, what the fuck was that, Jamie Lynn? What are you doing in public? Why? You are a mature woman. What are you doing? It was the funniest thing.
When's the last time you've curtsied?
Paula, I don't know. I'm like, did I just finish watching The Crown? Like, why am I curtsying
who
in public?
Are you? Like a poor man's Meghan Markle or something?
It's like, here you go at Costco. It's like, I don't know. It was the dumbest thing. And I'm like, what happened just then? What was that? It's like I had to acknowledge that he hit it because he gave me a look like, oops,
They probably went home and talked to their wives and just be like, so the strangest thing happened at Costco. I think someone curtsied. I thought she saluted me for a minute, but I wasn't sure. I think she was.
But it was like
and
a
then the
low
other guy's
wave?
like, no, she was waving. Well, why'd she wave and curtsy at the same time? Well, she wanted to give you respect.
To conclude the act, I did the wave like a presentation, like ta-da, like a Vanna White thing, and then I slapped my leg as I continued to walk. I'm like, wow. It was horrifying.
Baby got back.
Oh my God. It was so hilarious to myself. I was like, wow, I am so awkward.
I'm sure security was up in their booth and they're like, huh.
That was a weird act. That was the strangest 3 seconds of our lives.
Like, here, write that down. What time was that at? We're going to keep that for the greatest hits.
Yeah, that was a 34.67 time period, time stamp.
Yeah, we'll add that for the 2020 greatest hits one.
Oh, God, it was so embarrassing. I mean, I just don't even, embarrassing isn't even the right word. It's just like wonder and shock. Like, why would I behave that way? It's so weird how our bodies just respond. I don't know. Anyway.
I hate being caught off guard because I hate to call it natural response is usually very strange.
We do not respond normal. That's for sure. Just not normal at all.
I don't know why we do what we do.
I don't know. I do not know, but it makes me laugh. All right. Well, that's all I have.
Yes. So thanks, everybody, for joining us this Sunday. Please visit uglytruth.com. Click on the Amazon button. Do your shopping for Valentine's Day for all you oxytocin people. Whatever, nipple rubbers, or you galentines people. I'm sure there's things for that. Or the rest of you who just are obligated to do it. Go to that Amazon site and buy some stuff. You can do it Prime, and it'll be there in 2 days. Please visit lipandclip.com and buy some makeup. They're having good deals right now on eyeliner because I need to buy some. And then also, if you go to the Facebook page, my daughter is still selling Girl Scout cookies online.
Yes.
So if you don't want to have to deal with the Girl Scouts in front of the store, you can just order them online and then get them shipped to your house. And all is done. So check that out, Facebook. I think that's it. So we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.
Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.